Thank you so much, Tom. Thank you for your stellar leadership of Catholic Charities, both here in New Hampshire and on a national level. Given his humility, I suspect that most gathered tonight are unaware that Tom recently completed his tenure as chair of the executive committee of our Council of Diocesan Directors. Essentially, that means that Tom was chosen by his peers, his fellow diocesan directors around the country, as their leader and their chief representative to our office at Catholic Charities USA. I know that his fellow directors would agree with me that Tom's wisdom and insight proved indispensable during a tumultuous time for our network. He was so indispensable, in fact, that as his time in that role came to an end, we asked Tom to join our board at Catholic Charities USA, and we're very grateful that he accepted. He is a special person and a special leader, and someone I am grateful to call colleague and friend. I had the pleasure of spending time with Tom earlier today and the privilege of seeing the work of Catholic Charities New Hampshire up close and very fast. Visiting Catholic Charities agencies is one of the very best parts of my job, a job I truly, truly love. At Catholic Charities USA, we relish any opportunity to witness or learn about the tremendous good our member agencies do in their communities. For 2 days in late July, we hosted 42 staff and volunteers from various Catholic Charities agencies at our offices in Alexandria, Virginia. These 42 people traveled from all over the country to be professionally recorded, telling one story of an interaction with a client that particularly touched their hearts. These video testaments will be the centerpiece of People of Hope, a mobile museum that beginning next spring will travel the country for 2 years, stopping in every diocese to share powerful stories of neighbors helping neighbors through the work of Catholic Charities. Our hope is that this exhibit will both raise awareness of the life-giving work of Catholic Charities and more broadly inspire people of goodwill around the country to follow your lead and find ways to encounter, accompany, and serve our neighbors in need. We had nearly 300 members of the Catholic Charities Network apply to be featured in the exhibit. All of their stories were touching and inspiring. It was very difficult for our team to choose only 42. But one of those 42 storytellers is from Catholic Charities New Hampshire. Her name is Nikki Dixon, and she is the Director of Social Services and Admissions at St. Francis Rehabilitation and Nursing Center in Laconia. I think that's how you pronounce it, Laconia. I don't believe Nikki is here with us tonight, and I wouldn't dare try to retell her story. I wouldn't do it justice. Just know that it is about the profound difference that Catholic Charities made in the life of one struggling but determined senior. And know that this powerful story of service and encounter will soon be touching people's hearts nationwide. So often we talk about our work in the aggregate, the total number of people fed or housed or counseled. Nikki's story, and we hope the broader People of Hope Museum, is a reminder of how personal the work of Catholic Charities is. On a daily basis, the staff and volunteers of Catholic Charities New Hampshire are transforming the lives of the people you encounter and serve. This project, with storytellers from agencies around the country, is also a reminder that those transformations that you witness aren't just happening here in New Hampshire. They are happening in Sacramento, in Des Moines, in Baton Rouge, and in every other corner of our country. All of us assembled here tonight are part of a nationwide effort to bring comfort and hope to the suffering in the name of the Catholic Church. We have 168 independent Catholic charities agencies around the country. The ministries of these agencies are varied and vast. Our clients face practically any challenge you can imagine. A family whose home was demolished in an instant by a tornado. An expectant mother who is unsure of how to care for a newborn baby. A veteran looking to develop new skills and launch a new career. A single father struggling to afford groceries for his family. A refugee charting a new life in an unfamiliar country. A senior barely able to afford her medication and living in a dilapidated apartment. A person in recovery struggling with depression. A family materially impoverished living out of their car. One of my all-time favorite observations by Father Greg Boyle is, "This is what we seek, a compassion that can stand in awe at what the poor have to carry, rather than stand in judgment at how they carry it." As is the case here in New Hampshire, each agency tailors its services to the particular needs of the most vulnerable members of its community. But the people we serve all have one thing in common. They need help. They need mercy. They often have nowhere else to turn. They yearn for compassion. And they know that they can find it at Catholic Charities. The scale of our network's work is difficult to comprehend, but I'll share just a few numbers to put it in perspective. Last year alone, 28 million meals were served to those who were food insecure and hungry, and you played a huge role in those numbers. More than 40,000 clients received critical career training and were placed into new jobs. More than 500,000 Americans received behavioral health and wellness services. Our agencies provided 38,000 permanent, affordable housing units for families, seniors, veterans, and others in need of a decent place to live. And they responded to more than 50 large-scale disasters, hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, wildfires, and more, helping reeling communities and families recover and rebuild. In all, the Catholic Charities Network served more than 16 million people in need. Of course, this year has been a challenging time for our network and for other organizations dedicating to serving the least among us. I know you felt it in New Hampshire. Candidly, I am far less worried about the callous and cruel, abrupt cancellation of government contracts and funding cuts than I am of the violent rhetoric, the flagrantly false accusations levied against the church's social ministries to care for people who are suffering, poor, frightened, and vulnerable. And yet, our message to those who would disparage our service to the poor, to refugees, to people living on the streets is this: we can be maligned, falsely accused, defunded, made the object of your calumny, and still, in your own hour of need, we will feed you, provide safe shelter for your family, behold you, call you by name, offer our merciful care, lift your family out of poverty, heal you, bless you, and restore your dignity. That is who we are. It's what the gospel demands of us. Despite the challenges of our current reality, we have so many reasons for hope and optimism. We are reassured by the knowledge that our network, our church, and our country have persevered through difficult times before, through wars and depressions and epidemics, and come out stronger on the other side. In times of turmoil and disruption, the Catholic Charities Network has always risen to the occasion and met the moment, finding a way to come to the aid of those most in need. And that's what we're all here in New Hampshire and around the country continuing to do today. We are adapting and making plans to navigate a changing landscape. We don't have all the answers yet, but I assure you of this: we will never abandon our mission. You might as well ask us to give up our faith. Who better than people of faith to be the visible sign of hope in this moment when so many people are frightened and demoralized? This gathering tonight, all of you assembled, are signs of that hope. And on behalf of all of my colleagues at Catholic Charities USA, I want to close by offering my deepest gratitude. Thank you, Bishop Labashi, for your commitment to the work of Catholic Charities. Thank you to all the members of the board for your guidance and wisdom. Thank you, Tom, for your servant leadership, your friendship, and your unwavering devotion to our shared mission. Thank you to the entire staff and all of the volunteers of Catholic Charities New Hampshire for bringing mercy and compassion to those who need it the most. And finally, thank you to all of the supporters and partners in this room who make this life-giving work possible. Thank you for caring deeply about your neighbors in need in a time when indifference, callousness, and solipsism are far too common. And thank you all from the bottom of my heart for your ministry of presence, your power of presence, for being people of hope, for being the reason for my hope and the reason for the hope of so many. Thank you.